This is Doug with DT Excavation. Today's job, got a broken water line. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps me out. Okay, the customer noticed it had a wet spot in the yard, and she checked her water bill, and her water bill was a lot higher than normal. So you can kind of see this water here. This is the meter, and you can see that it's completely underwater. What we're going to do is we're going to go and that yellow bucket has a pump in it. I'm going to dig a hole over here, get this pump set up so we can get all this water pumped out of here, and the water's shut off right at the moment. Once I get all this water out of here, I'm going to turn the water on and see if I can see it coming up through the ground. Let's get started. All right, we got the sump pump installed here, and you can see it's got a hole dug and it's pumping out the groundwater here. So this is going to take a little while because as you can see, this has been leaking for some time, and you can kind of see how far back this water really is. So it's going to take a little while to pump. Got an 1.5 inch Zoll pump in there. So they move somewhere, I'd have to look at the specs, but somewhere around 4,000 gallons an hour. It might be around 5, but it's somewhere between 3 and 5,000 gallons an hour. We've got to run out here to the ditch, and you can see we're pumping a good stream, so we're just going to put it in the ditch here and let it go away. All right, we're going to have to let it pump for a while, so we'll get back at it. Okay, we're still pumping. We're making a little headway. The water here is not as deep as what it was, and you can kind of start to see the outline of the box more now. So the water is going down. You can see it moving, so it's just a slow process. We'll continue to pump here until we kind of get ahead of it. Once we get most of the water out of here, then that way I can get that box, the meter box, pumped out, and I'm going to try to turn the water on and see if I can see it squirting up through the ground anywhere. Sometimes you can see it, just by watching, you'll see water starting to move, but we need to get all this excess water pumped out so we can see, the water moving. All right, well, we've been pumping here for the last few hours, and with the ground being wet like it is, we've really had kind of a hard time distinguishing where the leak's at. We have hand dug down to the water line. We've got to pump the water back out. I found the water line coming out of the box down here. It appears that it's leaking somewhere in the meter fittings, but we're going to go and dig and open this up here a little bit, and I'd like to find the connection from the pigtail line, service line, to their water line going to the house. There's a fitting somewhere around where that stool is, or about in that area, and I want to find out if that's leaking or not and open this up a little bit. So let's go ahead and plug the pump in, and I can maybe give you a quick look. This whole area in here was all covered in water, so it's actually better than it was. So it shouldn't take it too long to pump this hole out, but like I said, it's dried up a lot in here compared to what it was. Kind of start to see the pump barrel. The water in the meter is draining down. Start the excavator and open us up a hole here. Yes. Here's the line coming out of the meter. Here's your connection right here. And here's the service line to the house. So we want to turn this on and check and see if we got any leak in there. Okay, I don't know if the camera can pick that up. We got a leak right there. Okay. I think we found our leak. Kind of see that right there. That's where she's leaking at. We'll get her cut apart and get her fixed. Well, we've got the line exposed. So now we're going to go and cut out the fitting that we need to replace. And I'll show you how to do that. You want to use, if you can, this is a waterline scissors, for lack of a better term. And you just go and pump this, and it's just like a vice grip kinda, and it goes and cuts the water line in two. So that's a handy tool to have. You don't have to have this. You can use a Sawzall or a hand saw to cut it, but this makes a nice clean cut. Now this is what you're going to find on a basic residential water service. This line here goes to the meter, hooks into the municipality water shutoff. You have a fitting. There's different types. There's barb fittings, there's Ford compression fittings. You hook onto their service line, and then this is the service line to the house. So you'll have a fitting anywhere from the edge of the meter out maybe 5-6 feet generally is where this fitting is going to be. And it's roughly going to be 30 to 36 inches deep, because it comes out of the bottom of the meter. Anywhere from the edge out 5 or 6 feet is where you're going to find this fitting. If you have a leak around the meter, this generally is a culprit. It will fail. So this is what you need to look for. Just want to go and wipe it off a little bit. And what you do is you just open this up, put this around the water line, and you just clamp it shut. It's like a pair of scissors. Same thing on the other side. This looks like a basic screw-in type fitting. It appears that they've got a male thread, probably a barbed male thread in this end and in this end, and they've got it screwed into a female adapter here. And where I noticed it leaking at when it was spraying, when you seen it, it was spraying somewhere out of here. It appears to be steel, but there could be a plastic insert, but it was leaking somewhere around in here. This is 1 inch, looks like 1 inch IPS, and this here is probably 3/4 IPS. We're going to go get the parts and fix it. Okay, we're ready to start putting the pipe back together. Thing you want to do is wipe the pipe off good. Okay, we're going to put a barb fitting on this end with the smaller pipe, and you want to go and have your hose clamps on the opposite sides of the pipe because it tightens up better that way. So you just stick them on. And then when you use a barb fitting, you always want to use brass. Brass is the best. You don't ever want to use plastic. And that slides in the line here and it grips it, and then you tighten the two straps up because we need to extend the line up there closer. Okay, a little trick is to heat the pipe just a little bit. But you don't want to heat it too much because you'll burn the pipe through. You just want to heat it a little bit. Hold the flame back away from it so you're not melting the pipe. Okay, that should be about enough. And you take a hammer, you pull the pipe back, give her a little tap. Okay, you can see that the fitting is flush back against the pipe, so that's as far as you go. You just want to get the pipe back to the ribs. So then you slide your clamps up, and you want to put it up even with the pipe. Snug it down. You want to leave your hex head here where you can get a hold of it. So you can finish tightening it here in a little bit. The other clamp, and you butt it up against it. Push it up here where it's flush. Once you get it kind of snug, then you can use a ratchet and you can finish tightening it up. Now we're going to go and extend the pipe. Now this piece here may be, I just kind of cut it and guessed at it, but we'll trim it to length when we get it on. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to heat this pipe up a little bit. Just kind of go around it. Don't let the flame hit the pipe. Just go and just kind of get it just warm. Okay, that should be enough. And then just work the pipe onto the fitting like that. Next thing, we need a couple more clamps. And just snug them up with your driver. Just remember not to over tighten it. Just get it to where it feels good and snug. We've got the pipe extended to where we need it. Wash the pipe off, get all the mud off this. Get it where it's nice and clean. Now take a dry towel and just make sure you get it good and clean. Using a different kind of a fitting on this. This is called a forward compression fitting. The way these work is these slide over the top of the pipe, and it has a metal stiffener that goes inside of the pipe, and that's what keeps it rigid so it doesn't collapse. So what you do, or the way I do it, is you take a marker, you just put it even there, and you just mark the back of the pipe with your marker. That'll come into play here in a little bit. So that's representing how far that sleeve is in there. These compression fittings, they just screw together. That's the way they seal. So you can see what they have is this. That's just hollow in there, and it just has a rubber gasket, and it has a neoprene seal right there that goes in there. And what you do is you slide this over top of the water line. Okay, we got the fitting on. It gave us a little trouble, it's a little tight, but you can see that the seal's in there, the rubber bushing is there, and the sleeve, you want to put it in there. And then the next thing is you go and take this part of the fitting apart, and then this just slides up in here, and then you just screw them together. You just want to make sure that you're in as far as you need to go. It's got little ears in there, so what I normally do is I take a different kind of wrenches you can use. You just got to pick what works best for you. You just want to go and get your pipe wrench set. And you want to tighten it till you hear it squeak. You probably can't hear that, but when it squeaks, it's about tight enough. You can maybe take it one more spin. You probably heard that. Okay, we've got that one tight. Just look into that hole, make sure it's seated up, and it is. Make sure your seal's in there. The next thing, we want to tighten that bolt back. And just tighten it up. And you can see these two ears here on your coupling. You want those to be smashed together. And that means that it's crimped on the pipe. Okay, you see how they're together? And that's what you want right there. And next step is we need to clean this pipe up. This side here is fixed, so it's not going to move any. So we just want to make sure we don't have any mud on the threads. We're going to try to estimate what we need here. Now, it's always best to leave just a little more than what you need and let the pipe bend a little. Take your waterline scissors. Give her a cut. Okay, we're a little long, but that's okay. Let's cut her right about there. Just wipe the line off before you stick it up in there so we don't get any mud up in there. And you can just kind of dry fit it and see if you're close. Just wipe the line off, you're good. Then you can kind of raise it up and kind of bend it and get it in there. Yeah, I think that'll work fine. You can kind of see the pipe's got a little bit of a curve to it, but that's fine. The line's drifting off this way and we've got it cut just right. Well, now let's go ahead and pull it back apart and get it prepped. Got to wipe the mud back off. Same procedure. Just make sure it's your seals in there, your rubber bushing, and the bevel edge goes towards the coupling. Just make sure everything's good. Just see any mud like that, you want to get all that off as best you can. You don't want anything to ruin the seal of the pipe. Line the sleeve up, just make a mark, and that way I know where I'm at when I put the pipe in. Okay, we take this, make sure everything's good. Okay, we slide it up on there. This just kind of slides on like that. Make sure there's no mud in the pipe. Wipe it one more time. And we've got the sleeve cleaned up. It's looking pretty good. Okay, the pipe is good. We got our rubber bushing and seal, so you just stick this inside. You may have to give her a little smack, but you kind of want it, you know, towards the end there. You can take this hammer and just give her one little peck just to make sure that it's in there far enough. Okay, she's about as far as it's going to go. There's no mud or anything on it. So then you got to kind of raise this up, shove it in there, and then you just run this up on the threads. And you always want to run this up on here by hand just a little bit to make sure you don't have it cross-threaded. Okay, we got that one good there. Okay, now we just go and tighten it around. There we go. And you want to try, if you can, to have your screw head sticking up so it's easy to get to. That's not always possible, but this way it's if you can have it plenty tight and have these up where you can get a hold of them or somewhere on the top, it makes it a lot easier. We got a 3/8. Okay, you can kind of see they're touching on the end. It's basically done. You want to go back and double check and make sure everything's tight. Give that a little snugging. That's good. So we're going to go and give that a snug. That is pretty much complete. That is this is what you're going to find on a typical waterline repair when your coupling is leaking at the meter. The meter line comes out, and then you couple onto your service line. Now we had to extend this line a little bit because we cut the old fitting out and we had to extend the pipe, so we've got an extra fitting here. I chose to use a double barb fitting, brass, to extend it. We could have used another Ford fitting. Doesn't matter, either one will work. This is 3/4 iron pipe size. That's 1-inch iron pipe size. There's some different kinds of fittings that you can use, but my recommendation is always use brass. Do not use plastic. Galvanized is okay, but galvanized will rust. So really the only true choice you got is brass. We'll go here and see if we still have any leaking issues. Okay, we've got all the leaks fixed. You can see the Ford compression fitting. We had to dig around the meter. There was a small leak in the bottom of the meter, so we dug around that. So now we're going to go and backfill it. we've got the job done. And right here is the meter, and this red star is what determines if you have a leak. So if you have everything shut off in the house and there's no water running, and if this little star wheel is moving, that means you've got a leak somewhere between the meter and the house. And when everything is working properly and everything in the house is there's no water moving and everything's shut off, this little star wheel right here should be sitting still. If it's moving, then you've got a leak. So that's how you determine you have a leak. All right, we've got this job done. See you on the next one.